Alright, hello fun and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Seasons Change mod, which is being made by user WC. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a pretty big overhaul of trees. And I really like this mod because it is not making the world just greener as it may appear at the moment. Oh no, this changes the trees so that they will actually change as the seasons do. So as you go through spring, summer, autumn, and winter, the world around you, or at least the trees, will change color and even, well, the density of leaves. More on that in a moment, and this is pretty freaking awesome. It's honestly one of the mods that I wasn't expecting to see out of the Merry Modding Days, which is a series of mods being released as an advent calendar prior to Christmas. This is probably the largest and most intriguing of them that I've seen. Really wasn't expecting it, and it is pretty darn cool. Now, as for the changes that you will see, like I said, as the seasons change, so will the leaves of the trees. So in the spring, which will be through March and April, as well as summer through May and August, the trees will be nice and beautifully green, making the Commonwealth look entirely different. Now in the autumn, which will be from September through November, you'll actually have those autumn multicolored leaves in the world, which again, completely changing how the Commonwealth feels, and it's so freaking cool. And finally, you got winter, going from December through February, where the leaves will be entirely gone, all just back to the more depressing post-apocalypse we usually have in the Commonwealth. And that's just amazing. I've never seen a mod that does something like this. I've seen plenty of mods out in the world which will make the trees green, or make them look like it's autumn, etc., but none that actually change it as the world around you changes, which is pretty freaking cool. Now, there is some limitations to how this actually does function. First and foremost is that unfortunately the seasons won't change perfectly dynamically. They will change in one of two ways. You either have to visit Diamond City or Good Neighbor, since those are the two most important NPC settlements, and that will trigger the season change once you have crossed into the correct month that you are currently in. And that will trigger it. The other way is to do it manually. You can go in to the mod configuration menu if you have it installed, go to the seasons change bit right here, and you can actually change the date for the game, which is already kind of cool. So if we make this go from currently there to there, let's go into November, and we can then force the update of the season. And you'll see it in the background changing up everything, and when we go back out here, well, look at that, we have all this new beautiful autumn foliage, which is pretty cool. And equally, we can then go back into the mod configuration menu, back to seasons change, and move it into December there, and once more force the update. And now we're back to our usual depressing post-apocalypse. Good times, good times. And like I mentioned, in-game, the way to trigger it is to just visit Diamond City or Good Neighbor whenever you do pass over one of those seasons thresholds, and it will trigger it. Hopefully, I don't know if it's possible, but hopefully the mod maker will find a way to do it, anywhere in the world when any cell updates, but for now, at the very least, it is just Diamond City and Good Neighbor. Or, of course, through the mod configuration menu. And let's actually make it back to green because, my god, that is pretty gorgeous seeing the Commonwealth with all that greenery. Now, unfortunately, it is just trees. So it isn't changing anything with the grass and ground textures. I don't know if that is possible, but that would be cool to see if we could get something like that in the future. I know on the comments section for the mod page, there's been some back and forth between the mod maker and a few users on the Nexus talking about that, so who knows, we might see that in the future, but for now it is just the trees. Now, as for some I don't know if I'd call it issues, but definitely a few things of note. First is that this is a huge mod. This mod is 1.7 gigs to change everything. So, yeah, it's a lot. And because of how it's working, it may not work so great on lower-end computers. Now, another thing is, if, like me, you've built up a specific area and gotten rid of trees that used to be there, well, the foliage is still going to be there when you first download and install the mod. If I do actually go into the build menu here, I actually can remove these leaves. You can see our trunk is gone because I removed it ages ago, but I still can actually go ahead and remove the branches, and we'll get some fertilizer. There we go. That does seem to be how this thing is working. It's leaving the tree stumps in the world, like, say, that one over there, but then adding in, to not all trees, but most trees, some leaves and branches around the thing. So that is definitely something to keep in mind if you have completely leveled a forest in an area to build some cool base. You're gonna have branches floating in the air, but again, you can just go and, you know, get rid of them here in the build menu. It'll just be a little bit of a pain to do so, but not really that big of a problem, and once you got it, well, you're good, and you can, you know, still have your beautiful foliage changing in the rest of the world just after you do a little bit of housekeeping. And this is pretty darn cool. I can't wait to see how the mod does change in the future. I don't know how much it will change, but I do hope that we do see things like the ground textures getting changed, and possibly some other things with the seasons. The mod maker actually did put out there the basic commands of what they're using for changing with the seasons, so you might see other mod makers implementing their own things into this with their mods, which would be a pretty fun little addition to see even more changing in the future with the seasons. But for now, it's pretty great. I love the idea of the greenery of the world changing, like I showed you earlier with the basic when I was going over the seasons, just over by Vault 111, but look at this over by the castle. Spring and summer, just beautiful greenery. In the autumn, just the great color change in the world. And then, of course, back to the depressing winter. It's very cool seeing every part of the world change like this, and without having to do it manually mod by mod. Like I said before, I've seen mods that change the greenery in the game, but it's always a one-and-done thing. This changes it by season, and that is wonderful. So if you'd like to take a look at this mod for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do. Oh boy, I can't jump back in there, can I? Well, that is going to be it for this episode today. Do check out the link in the description to download this, as it is pretty wonderful. And I hope you do enjoy it and have enjoyed this video, and come back for whatever mod we do look at next. But until that time, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, well, have a good one.